What's going on, FitFam? Today I'm going to share with you one of my all-time favorite recipes, and that is Pao Shrimp. Okay, so this recipe is so freaking delicious. You are literally going to love it. It tastes like something that you would get out at a fancy Asian restaurant, but you can make it in your home super simply. So I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that today. All right, so we're going to get started with all the different ingredients. So of course, I have a bunch of shrimp, a little bit less than 400 grams right here. You can use any protein that you want though. You can use chicken, you can use beef, or you can even use tofu, whatever. Any of it is gonna work great. I really love shrimp though, just because it's such an easy, convenient protein, and it's really, really low in overall calories, super high in protein, and no fat and carbs, so it's awesome. Then the next thing you're gonna want is some kind of vegetable. So normally for this recipe, I would use broccoli, but I didn't really have any that were fresh and nice. So I'm just gonna actually take this bag of pre-washed, chopped up kale. I'm just gonna throw a bunch of that in there. The next part in any meal that is always a staple is a starchy carbohydrate, okay? So you can use whichever you want. A lot of the time I would use rice for a meal like this. You can even use pasta, but today I'm gonna use quinoa. So I have some white quinoa. I'm gonna show you how I cook that. All right, so now it's just a matter of all the ingredients that we're gonna put in the sauce. So remember, again, this is where your fats come in. So you have a protein, you have a vegetable, a starchy carbohydrate, and now the last component of a meal is your fats. So the fats are the sauce, the toppings, the marinade, the dressing, whatever. It's kind of what brings everything together and makes it super, super delicious, okay? So what we're gonna use for our fats today is we're gonna use sesame oil because this is an Asian dish, so we're gonna be using more Asian type flavors. If you don't have access to sesame oil, it's okay. You can use any oil. You can also use olive oil or coconut oil, but the sesame oil is really nice, so I would encourage you to try and find it in your grocery store. So we got that. Then we are also going to be using peanut butter, which is what makes this recipe so freaking tasty. It's like a really nice peanut sauce. So this is the fat that's really going to bring all of the flavors to life. So definitely grab yourself a couple garlic cloves, or if you have access to already minced garlic, that is such a time saver. Then I have 2 limes, which we're going to use for the sauce as well. Then I have some honey, some soy sauce, and this actually isn't an example of this, but when you're getting soy sauce, usually try to go for a reduced sodium version because it's really high in sodium already. So getting a reduced version is just gonna help you save a little bit of sodium there. All right, then I have some green onion stalks just to garnish at the very end. And last thing is this rice vinegar, okay? So again, Asian type ingredient here, so this really gives it that Asian flavor that's going to be so delicious. But if you can't find it, it's okay. It's not a huge deal. You can just omit it, but I would encourage you to try to find it to really get that full range of flavor. All right, let's get into the cooking. All right, so the very first thing we're going to do is set our quinoa on to cook. So we're gonna do 1 cup of uncooked quinoa with 2 cups of water, and that's gonna cook about 3 cups of actual cooked quinoa. All right, so I got my pan, and here I have my digital kitchen scale. So this is just the Amazon Basics one. I highly recommend it. It's not even like $10, and really, you want to make sure that you have a digital scale when you're getting serious about your fitness goals, because if you want to achieve your goals, you have to make sure that you're eating the right amount for your body. And the best way to know that is to make sure that you actually are eating the appropriate amount by measuring out your food. So that's what we're going to do here with the oil. With things that are very dense in calories like oil, it's especially important to make sure that you're not overdoing it, because if you're overdoing it even a little bit, you can actually be adding hundreds more calories onto your daily total, and then if you're not losing weight, that's actually why. So you'll know where you're going wrong when you're measuring things. All right, so here we have the sesame oil. So the amount that I'm making today is enough for 2 servings for 2 different people. So I'm gonna be using 1 whole tablespoon, which is 15 milliliters. That's what I'm gonna weigh out here. So per serving, it would be half of a tablespoon. you're just gonna weigh out 15 grams. So let's add in some garlic. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and add in my shrimp. It's all peeled, ready to go. All right, so now we're gonna make the sauce that we're gonna throw in with the shrimp and then just add the kale, and then it's pretty much done. All right, so we got the scale again. So the first thing I'm gonna add is some honey. So I'm doing a tablespoon per serving. 1 tablespoon of honey is 20 grams, so we're gonna do 40 grams total. All right, and we're gonna add in 1 tablespoon total, so half a tablespoon each of soy sauce. And 1 tablespoon total of rice vinegar. All right, and now the peanut butter, which is the best part. It's gonna make it super tasty. So it's gonna be a tablespoon of peanut butter each. 1 tablespoon is 15 grams. We're gonna be doing 30 grams total. All right, and the very last thing, we're just gonna take our 2 limes and squeeze it and then mix it all together. This is the finished sauce, so we're just gonna take it over here and add it in with the cooking shrimp. Now we're just gonna mix it all together. Alright, so now I'm just gonna take my kale and throw it in as the final touch, adding in our vegetable. Again, you can use whichever one you want, and then we're just gonna let it simmer a little bit longer, and it's gonna be good to go. Alright, and the quinoa is done. As you can see, it's nice and fluffy like that. Alright, you guys, so now it is done. So I'm just gonna plate it and show you the final product. First, I'm gonna take the quinoa. I'm gonna do 1 cup cooked quinoa for each serving. And now we have the shrimp mixture. So I'm just gonna take half into each bowl. Alright, now the very last thing we're going to do is just take our diced green onions here and drop them on top for a little extra flavor. Alright FitFam, this is the final product. It looks and smells so good. So excited to have this. Woohoo! Thank you so much for joining me in the kitchen today. Definitely let me know if you give this recipe a go. I'm going to be sending out the ingredients and all of the steps to my list. So if you're not on that, make sure you go sign up at nomadicfitness.com. And when you sign up, you're also going to get access to my free meal planner template and grocery list. Alright, thank you so much for joining me, and stay tuned for more goodness.